But it's Terry Ryder from Hotspotting, and I'm here today with Scott Mitchell from Mitchell Realty in beautiful Hervey Bay in Queensland. About 12 or 18 months ago, Scott and I had a chat about what was going on in the market then, and I think at that time, Hervey Bay was just starting to come into a period of exceptional growth, probably the biggest growth period it experienced for 10 or more years. So it's going to be interesting today to have a chat to Scott about what's happened since then and where the market is at now, because as I see it, Hervey Bay is one of Australia's most natural and spectacular beneficiaries of the trend that I call the exodus to affordable lifestyle, which I believe is the strongest trend impacting real estate Australia-wide so far in the 21st century, and it's ongoing. I think it's a long-term trend that's going to keep on going. Some people think it's been driven by COVID, but we know that it's actually been underway for longer than that. It's about lifestyle, it's about affordability, and it's about the ability to work remotely. And I think that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. So Scott Mitchell, Mitchell Realty, welcome. We spoke, as I said, about 12 or 18 months ago, and things were just starting to get really busy. What's happening in your market now? Still as hot as ever?
Yeah, certainly. A lot of people in our local area now that have been involved in real estate are calling it a once-in-a-generational boom. So Hervey Bay has not experienced buyer activity like we're experiencing today in history. So it's been a phenomenal market, it really is.
Yeah, and I mean, my understanding, looking at it from a distance, although I am very familiar with Hervey Bay, I used to own an investment property there. I know, I wish I still did, but for me, it's been very much about the kind of lifestyle that Hervey Bay offers at incredibly affordable prices as you started this boom. And even though you've had phenomenal growth, it's still, by national standards, for what it offers, still a very, very affordable place.
Yeah, certainly. Like, I believe across the board, we can say confidently we've achieved somewhere around 30% capital growth across the market in the last 6 or so months. And again, we came off a very, very low base. So the fact that we hadn't really seen any growth in our market prior to, ironically, somewhere around the start of COVID 18 months ago. And the fact that this activity is just consistent to build or consistently built. We are really only back, probably not a long way ahead of where we were in 2008, 2009. So I suggest we do still, in my opinion, have a long way to go. And that's one of the reasons it was great to catch up with you today, to maybe justify that with someone with more experience than myself.
Yeah, like I remember not so long ago that a lot of the suburbs in the Fraser Coast region, as it's more correctly called, but Hervey Bay is a major part of that region. A lot of the suburbs have median house prices in the 300s, and just looking at the latest figures, that's no longer the case. But most of the suburbs in Hervey Bay still have median house prices somewhere in the 400,000s, which still offers an incredible level of affordability for the lifestyle environment that the area offers.
Yeah, certainly. Look, there are still brand new house and land packages being offered from around 450,000 now. Admittedly, though, those packages were available a little over 12 months ago for 375, 380 grand. But those packages are now, because of the supply and demand, shortages in materials and just building demand, we've seen the cost of those new packages now go up to starting around 450,000, but you can still purchase a brand spanking new house and land package in Hervey Bay under 10 minutes drive to the Esplanade beaches, restaurants, cafes, marina, for 450 to 500,000, which is still exceptional value.
Yeah, I've alluded a couple of times already to the value for money that Hervey Bay represents, based on what it offers in terms of lifestyle. Could you tell us a little bit about that for people who don't know the area very well?
Yeah, certainly. Like myself and my wife, Katrina, we moved here 17 years ago, really because of the lifestyle. We do have, statistically, one of the most temperate subtropical climates in the country. It has been a little more inclement than we're used to lately, I can tell you. But given all the unfortunate people that have been impacted by these horrible floods south of us, we don't get impacted by those events. We've been super fortunate that we don't have any significant flood issues across Hervey Bay. The Mary River, obviously in Maryborough, has experienced some pretty awful flooding, but we've been super fortunate across Hervey Bay. We don't tend to deal with those issues. We've had our share of rain, but across the board, we've got a fabulous climate, which comes with an amazing lifestyle. We've got one of the, I believe, the only north-facing bay on the east coast of Queensland. So our esplanade is like 14, 15 kilometres long, faces north. Our prevailing southeast trade wind is southeast. Most of the year, we get an offshore breeze with a spectacularly calm esplanade. And we've got some beautiful restaurants and absolute waterfront or beachfront cafes there now to enjoy as well. It is a special place to live.
And one of the special parts about it, that the bay you refer to, is protected, but there's this big lump of land just off the coast, which is one of the landmarks that's actually famous on a global scale, because it's the biggest sand island on the planet, Fraser Island. It's a very special place. Yep. It's one of the reasons why I've been to Hervey Bay so often, because I love Fraser Island so much.
Yeah, certainly. Look, and the island has recently had its change of name to Gari, and that's under the ownership and custodianship of the local Butchulla people. And it is the largest sand island, and it's got amazing diversity on Gari, from tropical rainforests through to beautiful freshwater perched lakes, and that eastern beach is almost like a sand highway. And I'm a keen recreational fisher, so that was another reason we moved here, is for the diverse recreational fishing opportunities, both on the island and throughout Platypus Bay. We've got one of the most diverse fisheries, again, throughout the Great Sandy Marine Park in the country. It's got more diversity in fish life and species than the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park. That's Great Sandy Marine Park does. So it's a special place if you're a fisherman, crabber, lifestyle enthusiast, boatie. Like if you're a boatie, the Great Sandy Straits is really like a wonderland for boating as well. So it's a special place to live. And
protected waters, that's a key part of it, isn't it? Because you've got
So Gari, or Fraser Islands, it was previously known, gives us that protection or buffer from those prevailing southeast trade winds.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And just going back to the market, I just looked at the latest numbers, and pretty much every suburb in the area has had median house price growth of at least 20% in the last 12 months, and some as much as 30%. Yeah. So do you feel that the market's still got some way to go? Certainly my perception is it does, because it's actually quite early in a cycle, and it hasn't had a growth cycle like this for quite some time. So how do you see it as somebody who's on the ground there?
That is certainly our expectation. And again, that is because we've come off such a low base. We got involved in real estate here in Hervey Bay around 2006, 2007. We saw that last little bit of a peak in the cycle back then. And then the GFC kicked in, and that did significantly impact on our market. And we saw most of the growth between 05 and 08 lost in that area. And our market stayed pretty flat from about 2011 through until, say, 18 months ago. And so coming off such a low base, whilst we've had that 20 or 30% growth, we feel there is definitely a lot more capital gains to come. And based on the buyer demand that we're working with at the moment, the buyer demand has been incredibly high, to the level that we strategically space out the releasing or launching of our properties to the market so that we can deal with the buyer inquiry, because it is that high at the moment. It hasn't wavered at all, and it actually went to a different level in January. It's by far the highest inquiry we as a team have ever dealt with.
Okay, so 2021 was a pretty spectacular year in your area, but it sounds like 2022 has started even more so.
Yeah, certainly. Every time we think that we couldn't get busier, it seems to take us to a new level. And January, which can sometimes be a bit of a hit and miss month, was our strongest January sales month in history for our business. It was incredible.
Okay, one of the things that stands out for me looking at the pure real estate data is that despite the fact you've had exceptional price growth in the last 12 months, the rental yields are still well above average for a market like this. And that suggests to me that rents are also rising, and that wouldn't surprise me because I know vacancy rates are very low.
Super tight, yeah. So the vacancy rate is still sitting just under 1%, is my understanding, and the demand for those rentals is incredibly high. It could potentially exceed even our sales demand at the moment. It is difficult to get a rental property, is what we're hearing.
Yeah. Now, just having a look at the future, here at Hotspotting, with all the research that we do, what we believe to be true is that real estate markets arise out of local economies. And I think one of the reasons why Hervey Bay has had such a strong real estate market is because its local economy has been strong, and it's been strengthening over a number of years. It's actually been broadening and diversifying. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, certainly. And just the major developments, land estates, and projects, from high-rise developments to new shopping centres. Bunnings is doubling the size of their retail sector at the moment, directly behind their current showroom display area. Just the amount of projects that are approved and coming out of the ground, and the infrastructure to back that up, suggests that we've definitely turned a corner for Hervey Bay, and we see years of growth ahead of us, I would suggest.
Yeah, one of the things I noticed is that they're actually in the broader area quite a number of energy and resources projects, particularly alternative energy developments, wind farms, solar farms, quite big ones in there, and that must be generating or promise to generate economic activity and new employment for the area.
Yeah, certainly. That appears to be the case. And we're seeing the demographic change because of this. So whilst we were previously sometimes referred to as the newlyweds and nearly deads, that demographic is changing. So we're seeing a lot more younger middle-aged professionals coming to the Bay, particularly associated to medical centres and executive retail management positions, and also across the board for the tradies in construction. It's just phenomenal, really. There's just so much going on.
That's one of the things that's probably worth mentioning in terms of new infrastructure and the impact it has on the local economy and therefore the local property market. Is there's actually been some investment in health facilities, some quite significant ones in recent years. And as you say, that's bringing new people, highly paid health professionals to the area, and that clearly has an impact on demand and the sort of property that sells in the Hervey Bay region.
Yeah, definitely. And those middle-aged professional people that are on good salaries are purchasing the higher priced, higher valued homes, and they're coming with young families. So the kids are going to the schools, they're supporting the whole community throughout the retail sector, and that just seems to now just be steadily building.
And I suppose there's another factor in play, or about to become in play, and that is we've recently had the opening of state borders, but we're also now seeing the reopening of international borders. And that's something that's been, I guess, removed from your economic dynamic in the last couple of years. But that you're starting to feel that the effects of that coming back in terms of uplift in tourist numbers.
Yeah, certainly. I think the tourist and hospitality industry has been one of the hardest impacted out of the COVID crisis. So having those international borders resuming to some form of normality will certainly assist that whole sector. And the fact that the Olympics has been given to the Sunshine Coast region, we'll see a lot more infrastructure going ahead down there, and their markets are at a higher level than us. And what we are seeing, probably our biggest trend for buyers, is they are selling in the Gold Coast and Sunshine Coast markets at a far higher level than us. And then they're coming into our market, purchasing still at great value and topping up their bank account.
Yeah, I think it's a good point to make. The ripple effect that's happening in Australian markets, we're sort of seeing something like a typical scenario might be somebody sells in Sydney and buys for half the price on the Gold Coast. The people that they buy from sell on the Gold Coast and buy for half the price in Hervey Bay. So it's sort of rippling up the chain. The people sort of downsizing in terms of how much they're spending, but getting a home of comparable standard and perhaps a better lifestyle in the process.
Yeah, certainly. And that's probably the strongest trend that we've noted in our market for the last couple of years now, for sure.
Yeah, and you touched on the 2032 Olympics. I think it's important for people. It's always been described so far as the Brisbane Olympics, but it's important to note that it's not actually. It's the Queensland Olympics. Sunshine Coast is going to get 5 or 6 event venues. The Gold Coast is going to get some. Toowoomba's getting some. Yep. I think even North Queensland is getting some. So the impacts are going to spread in terms of the actual events right throughout Queensland, but more so the tourists that are going to come, not just during the event, but in the lead up to the event, we're going to be seeing benefits in areas like Hervey Bay, because we've got so many attractions, whale watching, the wonderful physical environment, and of course the world's largest sand island.
Yeah, correct. No, that's certainly the case. And we're excited as to where our market will continue to head.
Yeah. So for people on the outside looking in, Hervey Bay, they'll see the lifestyle and they'll look at the prices and think, my God, that's great value for money.
Yeah, so well, we did coin the phrase when we got here, how good is Hervey Bay? And nothing has changed. Hervey Bay is pretty good.
Okay. Well, it's been a very strong market for the past 12 or 18 months. It looks like it's continuing, and for the foreseeable future, that's going to be the case. Thanks for your time today, Scott. It's good to hear that things are prosperous there, that you're busier than you've ever been, and there's no sign of it letting up anytime soon.
No, I believe that is the case, and we're fortunate, obviously, to be able to share your report. So we've just done our most recent market update on the Hervey Bay market, and if anyone that has watched this would like a copy of that report, we would be happily to provide a copy of that report, which validates exactly what we've been discussing here now.
Okay, and if anybody wants to get in touch with you directly, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, you can obviously go to mitchellsrealty.com.au, and that's Mitchells with an S, or give us a call at the office on 07 4125 2950.
Okay. Well, let me just end by with a stat. We've just recently completed our new price predict index. We do it every quarter, and it's based on looking at sales volumes. We think it's a future indicator of what might happen with prices. So if sales activity is rising quarter by quarter in the area, prices are going to rise. And what we've just seen in our analysis of regional Queensland, that pretty much every suburb and town in the Fraser Coast region, in the Hervey Bay area, is still got that incredible uplift in sales activity. So as we see it, the price growth is going to continue for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that is definitely our expectation as well.
Okay, well, Scott, it's great to talk to you. Let's do it again, maybe in 12 months, and see where you're at. But for now, it's looks like a continuation of a quite a spectacular market in beautiful Hervey Bay. And by the way, that lovely backdrop I've got behind me, that virtual image is actually part of the Hervey Bay appeal. What am I looking at exactly? Obviously, what's one of the local marinas? It
is, yeah. That is the Urangan Marina. It looks to be taken probably just out the front of the boat club, which is a fantastic venue to go for a meal. They do fabulous meals. It's a great facility for Hervey Bay, and that's also for anyone that's a keen boatie or fisherman. That's our main launching point. So it's a beautiful marina, very well catered for.
And that's in the Hervey Bay suburb of Urangan. And just looking at the stats I've got here, the most popular suburb in the Hervey Bay region in terms of sales in the last 12 months. But the median house price in the area that's depicted behind me is still in the mid 400,000s. Not bad to access that kind of lifestyle.
Certainly is a prime time to still get into our market, Terry.
Okay, great to talk to you, Scott. Let's do it again in maybe 12 months' time and get an update.
That'd be fantastic, mate. Appreciate catching up tonight too. Thank you.